60 to 70% of what you pay for a common house plant at a big box garden center does not go toward the plant itself. It goes toward a logistics chain, a branded nursery tag, and shelf space in a climate-controlled retail corridor that costs the store more per square foot than most apartments. 10 plants sit on those shelves right now, and the gap between what they cost and what you actually get ranges from reasonable to quietly absurd. 5 of them are a predictable pattern of retail markup applied to plants that any local nursery sells for a fraction of the price, with no difference in genetics, grow, medium, or root quality. The other 5 are species where the garden center price reflects genuine scarcity, propagation cost, or a botanical trait that justifies every dollar. Starting at number 10, with a plant whose price tag is almost entirely a function of how good it photographs. Number 10, the Monstera deliciosa, sets the stage for a pattern that runs through this entire list. A standard 6-inch pot retails at Home Depot in the range of $18 to $28 depending on region. That same cutting, propagated from the same tie-grown stock that supplies the majority of big box garden center inventory, costs the retail chain between $3 and $6 landed. The markup is not driven by care, rarity, or superior genetics. Monstera deliciosa has been one of the most mass-propagated tropical houseplants in commercial horticulture since the 1990s. The parent material is commodity stock. What you are paying for is the social media silhouette. The split-leaf photograph has been reproduced so many times on Pinterest and Instagram that the plant carries a perceived luxury premium completely disconnected from its actual propagation cost, which is among the lowest in the genus. The result: you are not buying a plant. You are buying a trending image with roots attached. Number 9 takes the markup logic further and applies it to a plant that has been sold at premium prices for decades on the back of a single contested claim. The peace lily, Spathiphyllum wallisii, retails in the $8 to $18 range depending on pot size. A NASA Clean Air study from 1989 is the foundational marketing claim attached to almost every peace lily tag in retail, including at Home Depot partner nurseries. What the tag omits is that subsequent peer-reviewed research, including a 2019 analysis published in the Journal of Exposure Science and Environmental Epidemiology, found that the number of plants required to produce a measurable air purifying effect in a standard room is between 10 and 1,000 plants, depending on the pollutant. The peace lily is a durable, shade-tolerant foliage plant that earns its shelf space on those horticultural merits alone. The air quality claim is a residual marketing artifact from a study that was never designed to evaluate residential air purification. You are paying a retail premium partly propped up by a 3-5-year-old claim that the current science does not support at normal residential quantities. Number 8 doubles down on what a name can cost you. The Pothos Enjoy or Glacier variety, sold as a premium cultivar at Home Depot in the $12 to $22 range, is a cultivar of Epipremnum aureum. The parent species, Golden Pothos, retails in the $4 to $8 range in the same store. Propagation methodology is identical. Soil mix is identical. The growing facility in Florida or California that supplies both is often the same. The premium cultivar classification is driven by a slightly different variegation pattern on the leaf, produced by a genetic mutation that has been stable in commercial stock for long enough that cuttings of the Enjoy propagate true at scale. The cost differential between a Golden Pothos cutting and an Enjoy cutting at the supplier level is negligible. The cost differential on the shelf is driven by the word Enjoy on the plastic tag. For the consumer, the premium is paid for a cultivar name, not for propagation difficulty. Number 7 extends this into the most reliably overpriced category at any big box garden center. Succulents, specifically the branded Altman Plants succulent assortments sold through Home Depot, retail in the $4 to $12 range per individual 2 to 4 inch pot. Altman Plants is the largest succulent grower in the United States by volume. Their production facilities in California operate at a scale that puts per unit growing cost for a 2-inch succulent below $1 in a normal production cycle. The retail price is held up by 2 compounding markups, the Altman wholesale margin and the Home Depot retail margin, which on live goods in this category runs in the range of 40 to 60% of retail price. The succulents themselves are propagated from leaf or offset, require minimal input during the growing phase, and are genetically identical to material sold through independent nurseries and direct online growers at $2 to $4 per unit with free shipping at volume. Among mainstream brands, this is only the beginning. Number 6 marks the peak of the brand-driven markup in the herbaceous category. The Costa Farms branded Trending Tropicals line, sold exclusively through Home Depot as a retail partnership, prices plants in the $30 to $70 range for species including Philodendron gloriosum, Alocasia varieties, and Monstera Thai constellation. The Trending Tropicals program is a documented exclusive retail arrangement between Costa Farms, the largest foliage producer in North America by revenue, and Home Depot. Costa Farms operates production facilities across the continental U.S., Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic. The exclusivity of the Trending Tropicals line means that the pricing is not subject to competitive price discovery at the retail level. A Philodendron gloriosum in the Trending Tropicals line retails at $50 to $70. Independent nurseries and specialty plant shops carry the same species, same pot size, same origin stock at $20 to $35. The price differential is the cost of the exclusive retail arrangement passed directly to the consumer. If you think the previous brands represented a markup worth noting, the next brand represents a case where the production structure and the retail price exist in the most disconnected relationship in this entire category. Before we continue, you need 3 tests. 3 things you can check in the garden center before you put a plant in your cart that separate a retail markup from actual value. First, read the tag beyond the name. Look for country of origin, grower name, and any certifying claim. If the tag names a specific grower with a domestic facility, the plant has had fewer hands and fewer margin layers between propagation and your cart. If the tag only says the retailer's name and a QR code linking to Decor Inspiration, the grower information has been deliberately removed from the consumer's view. Second, check the root ball. Tip the pot. Roots circling the drainage hole mean the plant has been in that container too long. At the big box garden center volume and turnover model, that frequently means reduced vigor, established root binding, and a higher establishment failure rate at home. A plant from a smaller nursery at the same price with a healthy, not yet circling root system will outperform it in the first 6 months. Third, search the species name on a specialty plant marketplace before you buy. If the same species at the same size is available from a specialty grower for 30% less with verified provenance, you are paying a retail convenience premium, not a quality premium. Every ranking on this channel applies these same tests. No brand deals, no sponsored placements. If that's useful to you, you know where the button is. Number 5 stands out as the first plant on this list where the price reflects a real horticultural constraint. The Hoya Carey heart-shaped single leaf, sold at Home Depot in the $4 to $7 range as a Valentine's Day staple, is worth addressing precisely because it is the most broadly misrepresented plant at retail. A Hoya Carey sold as a single heart-shaped leaf in a 2-inch pot will never develop into a full plant. It does not contain a node. Without a node, no stem growth is possible. The cutting is biologically terminal. Independent specialty horticulturists have documented this consistently. The single-leaf Hoya Carey is sold as a novelty item with a botanical label that implies the purchasing experience of a houseplant. It is not a houseplant, it is a decorative cutting. The garden center price reflects a low propagation cost and a high novelty premium. Here, at least, the constraint is biological rather than corporate, which makes it a different kind of overpricing, but worth naming plainly. Number 4 brings transparency to the category in a way that the previous 5 brands systematically avoid. Independent local nurseries, specifically those operating as regional growers with under 3 retail locations and direct propagation of their stock, price comparable tropical houseplants at 20 to 40% below Home Depot retail across most species. The cost advantage comes from eliminating 2 margin layers, the national wholesale distributor and the big box retail margin on live goods. A direct-to-consumer propagation model means the plant spends less time in transit, arrives with a healthier root system, and comes with provenance information that the retail tag deliberately omits. A 6-inch Monstera at a local nursery that grew the plant on site costs $8 to $14. The same visual specification at Home Depot, sourced from a national distributor, costs $18 to $28. The plant is not better. The supply chain is simply longer. Number 3 delivers a level of price integrity missing from every brand positioned entry in this list. Specialty online plant retailers, specifically those operating a direct-to-home propagation model with published source information, represent a structurally different pricing model than big box retail on plants above the $25 price point. For rare species, the price differential is most pronounced. A Monstera Thai constellation sourced through a specialty online grower with a documented tissue culture program costs $40 to $60 for a rooted cutting with a published propagation date. The same plant in the Costa Farms Trending Tropicals line at Home Depot retails at $60 to $85 with no provenance information and no published tissue culture documentation. The price premium at retail is not explained by quality. It is explained by the exclusivity arrangement and the retail margin. The next entry takes a direct approach to the one category where Home Depot's pricing is actually competitive with the specialty market. Number 2 operates on a fundamentally different model from every entry ranked above it in the villain half of this list. Fruit trees and edible plants at Home Depot, specifically bare root fruit trees and vegetables starts sold in the spring gardening season, are priced in genuine alignment with wholesale nursery market rates. A 3-gallon bare root apple or peach tree retails at $25 to $40 at Home Depot. The same tree from a regional mail-order nursery costs $20 to $35 plus shipping, which typically adds $12 to $20 for the weight class. The Home Depot price on bare root edibles is not inflated by a lifestyle premium. The category does not carry the same social media-driven perceived value as tropical houseplants, and the pricing reflects that absence of brand mythology. You are buying a tree. The price reflects the tree. Number 1 delivers a level of transparency that stands alone in the big box garden center context. Seed packets, specifically open pollinated and heirloom seed varieties sold through Burpee and Fairy Morse, both distributed through Home Depot, represent the single category where the retail price to value ratio is in honest alignment with what the consumer receives. A single seed packet retails at $2 to $5 and contains between 20 and 200 seeds depending on species. The per plant cost of germination, assuming a standard home germination success rate, runs between 3 and 30 cents per viable seedling. No other category in the houseplant and garden department at any big box retailer comes close to this cost to return ratio. The seed packet carries no lifestyle premium, it carries no exclusivity arrangement, it carries no social media silhouette markup. It is a paper envelope with the genetics of a plant inside it, priced as such. Across the 10 entries analyzed, one pattern stands out above the rest. Price in the houseplant category at big box retail is not a function of the plant. It is a function of the supply chain layers between the propagation bench and the garden center shelf, compounded by whatever social media or lifestyle premium has attached itself to the species name on the tag. The same genetics, the same growing medium, the same root mass, and the same biological outcome are available for significantly less through direct nurseries, online specialty growers, and the seed packet section of the same store that overcharges for the potted version of the same species. The consumer who learns to read a root ball, trace a grower, and price check a species before buying a tag is not a smarter shopper. They are simply a buyer who stopped paying for a supply chain and started paying for a plant. In a retail environment built on lifestyle aspiration, knowing what actually backs the price is what protects your wallet.